So, it's not selfish. In the dictionary, selfish talks about too much concerned with our own welfare. But it doesn't say to not be in any way concerned with yourself. All right? I think when we think about people being selfish, we can easily call to mind those people who we know, and I'm not pointing any fingers, so nobody here, but people who we know are real narcissists. But with the narcissist is always the most insecure person in the room. There's no self-esteem there. They're not able to take care of their own needs. They're unable to love themselves, and their strategy is always to try to control other people, to support them in their narcissism, right? But different than selfish is self, with a capital S, self-centered. Self-centered is about something that's stationary, unmoving. So I am centered in myself. I know who I am in God, in other words, that I am a spiritual being. I am spirit that existed long before this life, and I am spirit that will exist long after this life is over. That I am anchored in my awareness of my oneness with God. See, and this is why I say this is what we have to know. To love yourself, you've got to know yourself. And so this is why we're always saying you've got to pray, you've got to meditate, so you continue to remember and remind yourself of the spiritual truth of who you are as a being, that you were made in the image and likeness of God. And anything not that is a lie from the beginning. In learning who you are, you learn what you need and what you want. See, you're big now, right? We're all big. We're big people. We are. We're wearing big boy pants. It's Sunday, And so being big now means I have to take responsibility for fulfilling my needs and wants. All right? So if I didn't get praised, then it's my job to do that for myself now. And if I didn't receive the kindness that I think I should have had, then it's my job to do that for myself now. If I didn't get the presents I wanted, it's my job to make sure I get them. See, if you're of an age, and we probably all are here, like say 18, you can go in the military, you can vote, you can buy cigarettes, you can buy hooch. The world is saying you're big, you're legal in all these different areas to do things. And so with that, though, comes tremendous responsibility. Right? With all of those things comes tremendous responsibility. And the universe will, now, so if you've been dozing, wake up just for this little piece. The universe will not give you anything that you will not give yourself. I'm going to say that again. The universe will not give you anything that you are unwilling to give yourself. So the problem isn't that when you were little, mommy didn't do this, or daddy did do that, or somebody, or teacher, or grandparents, or older siblings. That's not the problem. The problem isn't that it happened when you were little. The problem is you're still carrying it now, years later. Okay? And so when people show up in our life and they reflect to us that our lack of self-esteem comes up, they're not the problem. They're just showing us a belief that we have managed to push way down, way down, because it's so horrible and it's so ugly to look at that the only way we think we can survive is to push it way down, and I'll just operate over it. But you know what? It's coming up. It's coming up. For us to go forward and for us to live the life that God intends for us to live, all of those things that are frozen in our subjective mind, as Ernest Holmes calls it, have to come to the light for healing and release. And the great thing is now you have consciousness, now you have awareness, you have a prayer life, you meditate, you do spiritual practices. So we don't just become aware of those things. Now I say, I get to define my experience so that when I start to have those feelings, I can pray about them and I can meditate and I can study and I can do all the spiritual practices that the science of mind teaches me so I don't feel like a victim of those experiences. Now I know everybody had stuff happen along the way, and that's not the problem. The problem is what we're doing with it. What we're doing with it now. In some cases, decades later. decades and decades and decades later, it's still affecting us.